For decades, Patti LaBelle stood tall as the Godmother of Soul, beloved for her powerhouse voice, grace, and timeless hits. But behind the glam and Grammy nods was a fiery woman who rarely bit her tongue. While she's long been a supporter of the LGBTQ+ community, Patti once harbored personal feuds with 4 gay male artists' rivalries rooted in betrayal, jealousy, and deep industry wounds. These weren't casual disagreements, they were emotional scars that lasted for years. Now, in a rare and unfiltered moment, Patti finally reveals the names and the real reasons why these artists earned her lifelong resentment. Patti LaBelle was born Patricia Louise Holt on May 24, 1944, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She grew up in a humble household as the daughter of Henry Holt, a railroad worker, and Bertha Holt, a domestic worker. Life wasn't easy. Her parents divorced when she was just 12, and she witnessed the emotional toll it took on her family. Still, Patti found solace in music. At age 10, she began singing solos at Beulah Baptist Church, where her powerful voice first turned heads. Patti's childhood was marked by both talent and tragedy. She was shy but emotionally expressive, pouring her feelings into gospel music. Though her mother was protective, she encouraged Patti to dream big. In high school, Patti formed a group called the Ordettes, which would eventually evolve into Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells, with fellow singers Nona Hendrix, Sarah Dash, and Cindy Birdsong. The group found regional success and later transformed into the bold, futuristic trio known as LaBelle. The group broke barriers in the 1970s with hits like Lady Marmalade, combining soul, funk, and rock in a way that shocked and thrilled audiences. Patti stood out not only for her legendary vocals but also for her unique style: wigs, feathers, and space-age costumes that made her a visual icon. But behind the glamour, Patti endured personal loss. All 3 of her sisters died of cancer before the age of 50, which left a permanent scar on her heart. These tragedies, along with her own health scares and a turbulent industry, shaped Patti into a strong, outspoken woman. Her early struggles gave her resilience and a nonsense edge. Patti didn't just survive the music business, she owned her space in it, and that toughness would later fuel her legendary clashes with certain artists. Number 1. Sylvester. Sylvester was a groundbreaking artist, flamboyant, unapologetically gay, and a disco pioneer whose voice could shatter ceilings and stereotypes alike. But behind the glitter and glamour, his relationship with Patti LaBelle was anything but fabulous. Though both artists were icons in their own right, known for their powerhouse vocals and bold stage presence, the two reportedly never saw eye to eye, according to those close to the soul scene of the late 70s. Sylvester once accused Patti of gatekeeping the gospel soul lane. While riding the wave of commercial success with hits like Lady Marmalade, Patti, known for her unfiltered honesty, didn't appreciate the slight hand from there. A quiet but tense feud simmered. It wasn't just musical turf wars. Sylvester's flamboyance and outspoken nature sometimes clashed with Patti's old-school diva sensibilities. At one awards show, sources say Sylvester showed up late, dressed in head-to-toe sequins, and interrupted Patti's acceptance speech by shouting from the audience. Patti reportedly called him disrespectful backstage and refused to acknowledge him in future interviews. Despite sharing fans in the LGBTQ+ community, their rivalry deepened rather than faded. While Patti has been a vocal supporter of LGBTQ rights, her personal tensions with Sylvester were rooted more in artistic rivalry and clashing egos than identity. Still, it was hard for many to ignore how the feud lingered in silence. Patti never publicly mourned Sylvester after his death in 1988, which many saw as a quiet confirmation of their unresolved bitterness. In recent years, when asked about him, Patti offered only a curt, "We were different people," for a woman known to sing with angels. Her silence on Sylvester still speaks volumes. Diva clash that never quite healed, and one that music historians continue to dissect. Number 2. Billy Porter, known for his Broadway brilliance and bold fashion statements, burst into mainstream fame with a voice as commanding as his confidence. But while the world embraced him as a new era icon, Patti LaBelle reportedly saw him as a little too much, too soon. Patti had spent decades climbing the ladder with grit, sacrifice, and pain, and watching Porter take the spotlight with audacity and headline-grabbing statements didn't sit well with her. According to insiders, she once remarked privately, "He hasn't earned the right to be that loud just yet." Their first tension reportedly began backstage at a televised tribute show, where Porter, full of energy and praise, tried to hug Patti mid-preparation. Patti, focused and reserved before performances, brushed him off. Porter, known for wearing his heart on his sleeve, took offense and later told friends he felt dismissed and disrespected by a woman he considered a legend. From there, a subtle coldness developed between the two. Though both artists represent vocal greatness and pride in black excellence, their approaches have always clashed. Patti came from a time of coded language and silent struggle. Billy, from a generation that demands visibility and loud truth. When Porter publicly claimed he was breaking doors, Patti only knocked on. She reportedly responded with a quiet but cutting comment, "Let's see where he is in 40 years. While never openly hostile in public, the distance between them was noticeable in shared events and interviews. Even when asked about Porter in recent years, Patti offers little more than a polite nod. For fans hoping for a duet or reconciliation, the silence speaks volumes. Patti's respect must be earned and assumed, and Billy Porter, despite his fame, never quite made the cut in her book. Number 3. Little Richard. Little Richard, the self-proclaimed architect of rock and roll, was a force of nature, flamboyant, fiery, and fearless. His influence on music is undeniable, but his relationship with Patti LaBelle was anything but harmonious. While they both shared Southern roots, church-based upbringings, and electrifying vocal talent, they clashed over ego, stage dominance, and deeply different philosophies. According to music insiders, Patti once said, he wanted to be the only star in the room even when he wasn't invited. Their feud reportedly began in the late 70s, during a joint concert lineup. Patti was scheduled to close the show, but Little Richard insisted he deserved the final spot. When organizers stood by Patti, Richard stormed off, only to reappear mid-performance, interrupting Patti's set with a loud declaration, "Now that's how it's done." The crowd was stunned. Patti, ever the professional, finished her set but reportedly vowed never to share a bill with him again. Beyond the stage drama, Richard's tendency to flip-flop between pride in his sexuality and condemning it in religious interviews deeply bothered Patti. She believed his public contradictions sent mixed messages, especially to young fans looking for truth and acceptance, while Patti embraced her LGBTQ+ following with consistency and warmth. Richard's unpredictability made her wary. Despite decades in the same circles, Patti and Little Richard rarely spoke fondly of one another. At events they kept their distance. Even in tribute specials, Patti avoided singing his songs or mentioning his name. When Little Richard passed in 2020, Patti offered only a brief social media condolence, far less personal than tributes she gave to other legends. For Patti LaBelle, respect was sacred and, once broken, rarely repaired. And with Little Richard, the clash of legacies never became a duet, remained a cold, unsung battle between two icons. Number 4. Luther Vandross and Patti LaBelle once shared a deep friendship, one rooted in mutual respect, powerful vocals, and a love for classic soul. Luther adored Patti. He called her a queen, praised her voice, and even performed with her on multiple occasions. Patti, in return, embraced him like family. But behind the smiles and harmonies was a tension that quietly grew, eventually turning their bond into one of her most painful musical betrayals. The turning point reportedly came in the early 2000s, when Luther began distancing himself from longtime friends, especially those like Patti, who privately urged him to live more openly. Patti has always been an outspoken ally to the LGBTQ+ community, and, according to sources, gently encouraged Luther to embrace his truth. Luther, fiercely private and deeply concerned about how coming out might affect his fanbase and image, took offense. What he saw as pressure, Patti saw as love, but it created a rift neither addressed publicly, adding fuel to the fire. Industry rumors claimed Luther declined a major duet with Patti in favor of working with younger, more commercial artists. Patti, known for her loyalty, felt blindsided, though she never spoke negatively about him in public. Her silence was louder than any song. When Luther passed away in 2005, Patti mourned him, but her tribute was noticeably more subdued than those she gave to others. To this day, she rarely speaks about their fallout. In interviews, when asked about Luther, she simply says, "He was special," then moves on. It's a sadness she carries without words, a reminder that even the deepest musical connections can crack under the weight of misunderstanding and pride. Patti didn't hate Luther, but their friendship ended with unresolved heartbreak, and in her world, that silence can feel like the sharpest cut of all.